Good afternoon. It's afternoon. Yes. Good afternoon. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. And we are going to proceed with Kodular development from where we left from on Saturday, the 4 p.m. session. So I'm really glad that you guys are able to join us and we can proceed and write and dive into coding. So last week on Saturday, we were able to create, or rather we were able to finish user interface development. And we created 4 screens. We created a login page, we created a sign up page, a home page, and a chat page. So we are going to continue with backend development. And yeah, you're going to continue with backend development. And let's just dive in. Let's dive in. So go to kodular.io. So I'm assuming that, let's say you are not working with, you are not, you've just opened your machine. So go to kodular.io and ensure that you've signed up. Yeah, go to kodular.io. So on my end, I'll go to kodular.io and then click on create apps. So the aim of today's session is to ensure that we push the backend. Yeah, we push the backend code at least to reach somewhere in a way that in the remaining session, that is on Saturday combined session, we learn a bit of modularized development or modularized components like side navigation, and also we learn about we can also learn a bit of bottom navigation. But majorly, most of the things that we are going to learn is going to be, the things that we are going to learn majorly is implementing the backend, and then we'll share with you materials on where you're going to get further resources. And then from there, you can try and push yourself to at least implement something on your own. But for now, we will dive in to finish the backend. Then for the combined session, we will ensure that you guys have a taste of bottom navigation. We can even try, I think we can even try, we can try, what is its name? Uh, floating action button, a very simple button to implement. Great. So log into the app that you developed before, or the projects that you created before. That is, in my case, let me try and access it. Let me try and access it. Great. So let me ensure that this is not, yes, yeah. You know, we are having multiple sessions, so I might have some, I don't want us to have some duplicate code. Fantastic. Great. So this is where we stopped last time. We were able to create a chat page. Actually, this is not the correct project. You can see we only have one screen. So kindly let me sign out very quickly and go to another, to log in using a different account. But I hope you are there. I hope you are there. Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, let me just check whether I'm in the right page. That's okay. That's okay. So what I will do is I'll try. I'll go to my projects. It seems I only worked with only one account, and the other screens. I'm just going to paste rather, or to copy those other screens and put in this session so that you can proceed very fast. So I'll just use the account that I used before. And then, sorry about that. Great. Yeah. So for now, you'll just assume what we have. I'll just export the entire project. Export AIA. So this is also one trick. For example, you want to share your project with someone, you can export the entire AIA project and email them. Or you can download, export a particular screen. Okay, you can export a particular screen so that they can at least have a look at your code. That is just one way of doing things. It's one way of doing things. So in case maybe you have a project and then let's say it's a team project. For example, in this project of Coders at American Spaces, you decide to code as a team. It would be great if you code at a particular account, you send the other details or the project to another person so that they can be able to have a look. It would be great. So I'll just delete this. And then import project, travel. Just a minute. This is taking much longer than I expected. Fantastic. So I hope you guys were able to finish by with adding the images. I hope you managed to add the images. I really hope you did. Okay. Oh, great. But that's okay. So let me see in the chat what we have. Oh, Margaret, you're saying you're able to add all the images. That is fantastic. That is fantastic, Margaret. Who else managed? Who else was able to manage? I can see most of us have been able to join. Yeah, that's great. Agnes, you managed. Esther, Rose as well. That's awesome. So I want to have a volunteer who's going to share their screen and I'll be able to guide them. Like you're going to be like an assistant tutor, something of that sort. So you will be working on based on my instructions. And then I think, yeah, so that everyone else can follow. So who would like to volunteer to share their screen so that we can continue with backend development? I want a volunteer. Let me stop sharing. Rose, yes, you can. So kindly unmute yourself and share your screen. You can unmute yourself and share your screen, or you can just share your screen, whichever way you prefer.
Hey Joan,
Hi, Rose.
I think participants are disabled, they can't share their screen.
Yes, come again.
Participants are disabled, they can't share their screen.
Sorry, you're not very audible. You're saying?
Sorry for that.
Okay.
Participants are disabled. I can't share
Oh,
my.
sorry about that. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Let me advance sharing option, just a minute. All participants can share. Okay. Okay. Kindly try. Oh, great. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh, great. Fantastic. I can see you were able to implement the chat page, the user interface of the chat page. You can go to screen, let's start with screen 1. Fantastic. I can see you're able to implement that. How about screen 2, the screen that follows the login page? Oh, that is the home page. That is awesome. That is awesome. Then the login page. Fantastic. And then finally, which page is remaining? Nothing. At least you've showed us the chat page, home, and login screen. So we implemented 4 screen majorly. So let's start with screen 1. Okay, let's start with screen 1. And I think we have to ensure that in screen 1, we have the icon, the app icon selected. So select screen 1 as a component at the component section. So I would advise that you follow through as she's doing. So after you select screen 1 as a component section in the components, scroll down, you'll be able to see in the properties, in the properties section of the, in the properties section that is towards the right, the extreme right, not there, that is left. Now towards the extreme right, yes. Scroll down, you'll be able to see icon. Yeah, just look for it slowly, you'll be able to see icon. Okay, there is that icon there. Fantastic. So ensure that you select the icon that you feel is the best. Like for your case, you can select that airplane just as a placeholder, and then you can change that later. So you can select that, ensure that you have an icon, so that towards the end of this session, we are going to learn how we are going to test this application. Okay, yeah. So in this page, we are going to add 2 non-visible components. And the first non-visible component that you're going to add is a notifier. And then the second one is a tiny DB, so that you can implement a simple login logic. And then we are going to share resources on how you are going to implement Firebase out. The moment you see out, you out or authentication, that is login and permission access of resources, permission to access resources. So we will share more, so that if you are interested to continue with mobile app development, you can be able to try them out. So there is at the palette section there, in the user interface group, drag and drop a notifier in the screen. Drag and drop a notifier. Fantastic. Yeah, leave it there. So that's one of the non-visible component. And if you can remember, the non-visible component is the one that does not show on the screen. It only pops up when or upon users request. So you can, in the palette section, again, you can hover and go to the what is it, storage section. Go to the storage section. Great. And then drag a tiny DB. Drag a tiny DB and drop it in your screen. So we have 2 non-visible components, that is notifier and TinyDB. TinyDB will store our data in the phone locally. Now, after we are done with this, we are done with the designer section. And I hope you guys, as you can see, the way Rose's screen is, she renamed the password text box, she renamed the buttons as well, and everything. So I hope you guys were able to rename. So click on the blocks, the block section. It's there at the top. Yes, fantastic. So we have now navigated to the blocks section, and this is where we are going to add our logic. So the first logic is when a user clicks that register button, that's where we are going to implement the logic. That's where we are going to implement our logic. When the user clicks the register button, what should happen? So scroll down in the block section on your left, and then select that register button, click on it, and then choose when register.click and drag it in your screen. When register, the first one here, when register.click, fantastic. Now, when register.click, we have to check a couple of things now, okay? We have to check whether, first of all, the user has inputted something, if they have not inputted something in the text boxes and they've clicked register, users can put you in trouble. We said database development is a whole concept on its own. Okay, so we have to code and ensure that we've captured some issues that the user might bring to us. Okay, so we have to think. There are some users who, it's subconscious. We're not saying that our users are stupid. It might be subconscious. Someone might just click Batimbaya, you see? It will crash your whole application if you don't handle it. So when register.click do, we are going to put a conditional statement in a way to check whether they have inputted something. So scroll up on the left, towards the left of the block section, and then click on the control group in the built-in section, and then drag an if and drop it inside the if button, that if then statement. That first one, it's at the top. Is at the top. If then, yes, drag it, drop it inside. Try and position it inside the register. Dot click. Yes, make it fit there. Fantastic. Well done. So we are saying if a user has inputted something that in we have to check whether they have inputted something. So click on the logic section of the built-in blocks and then take an or. Just before you drag and drop an or, just hover on it, the or, put your mouse on top of it. There'll be a pop-up with an explanation if you have a fast internet. It's not there, but it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, just drag it, we'll explain. Just drag it, then fix it in the if section there. Yes, fantastic. Great, well done. Now, what we are saying is we want to check whether some data is empty or not. So how many fields are we going to check? We are going to check for username, we are going to check for email, and we're going to check also for password, so that if any of them is empty, we stop the user to input everything first before they proceed. So as you can see, our logical OR has only two bubbles or two joining sections. So we have to extend that. How do we do that? Click on that settings icon in the OR. Not there, yes, there, fantastic. You can see there is a Boolean list. So drag that Boolean from the list and drop it inside, fix it after the second Boolean in the list. It's like you're joining, yeah, towards, no, not there, inside that bubble, just inside that bubble. Yes, put it under as the last in the list, yes. Fantastic. And as you can see, it has extended. Okay, it has extended so that it is, I mean, a logical or with three sections. So you can click on that settings and make it disappear. So it's very simple. You click on that settings icon, okay, and then you drag a Boolean from the left palette, from the left list, and then join it in the last section of that list. Sawa sawa. Well done. Now, click on the text section. Click on the text section in the blocks. I mean, on your left. Yes. Click on the text section. Get that is empty block. It is the fourth one. Yes. Don't put it anywhere. Just put it in the blank space there. Fantastic. Now scroll down to get username text box, or I don't know how you named it. Yes, username text box. Click on it and then scroll down and get username textbox.text. Well done. Username textbox.text, the one that can be fixed like that. Fantastic. Well done. Like that. So you fix it in the is empty. So we are going to check whether username textbox.text is empty, or email textbox.text is empty, or password textbox.text is empty. So right click on the is empty section there. Yes, there. Right click and then duplicate. And then on that drop down of username text box, select email. Yes, then duplicate the is empty of the email. Well done. And then select for password. Great. Now start fixing with the password one towards the end of the OR block. drag the is empty of the password text. Oh yeah, you can start with whichever you feel like. Yeah, fantastic, well done. And then for password. So if it is empty, what do? We notify the user that those fields are empty. So scroll down to in the block section and click on the notifier and choose call notifier one dot show message dialog. Scroll down, you'll see call notifier one dot show message dialog. Scroll down. Uh, there. Show that is progress. Message. It was, you'll find it. I can see you passed it a bit, but it's okay. That is text dialogue, not that one. So scroll up. It was among, I think it's always among the first. That is progress, there is password, there. Show message dialogue, there. So drag that one and drop it in the then section inside. Yes. Great. Any questions so far? Fantastic. Now in the message, click on the text in the built-in blocks. Scroll upwards, you'll see text in the built-in blocks, and then put an empty bubble. Scroll upwards in that section, and then put an empty bubble in the message. Then you can right-click and duplicate and put the bubble in the title and button text as well. And then let's put our message. So in this case, it means that our fields are empty. So in the message section, put please ensure you filled in, or please ensure all the fields are, yeah, please ensure, I don't know. Please ensure you filled in all the fields before you continue. Sorry about that. Please ensure you filled all the fields before you continue. Fantastic. Then the title, you can just write empty fields. Then on the button, you can just write OK. O and K, or OK in full, whichever you prefer. Fantastic. Now, this is the condition that we've checked, the first condition that we've checked. The second condition that we are going to, I mean, there isn't a second condition for now because we just have to ensure that these details are correct. But there are some cases whereby you might want to validate the email, okay? That one, I'll leave it to you as something that you can go and research. You know, an email should contain an @ symbol and a dot symbol somewhere, so that let's say it's something at something dot a certain, let's say .co.ke or .com, whichever. So there is a way of validating an email. So I'll leave it open to you. So it can be like an additional condition for you to check whether the person has put in the correct email. There is also a way of also validating the password. You check whether it is of a certain length, and you check also whether it contains some special characters and capital letters for someone to secure the account further. I'll leave that open. But for now, at least we've checked whether it is empty. So for us to extend that, if we are going to add an else statement only, because we don't have other conditions on top, but in the login section, we'll have more conditions on top, and we'll be able to learn on how an else if works. So click on the settings icon of the if block. Then drag an else and fix it inside the if in just that bubble. Yes, fantastic. And then click on the settings icon for it to disappear. Well done. Now in the else section, you're saying if other conditions are false, that is the user has inputted everything that is required. we are going to save our data in the database. Rather, we're going to register them, so as to say. But on the technical end, we know that we are going to register to save that data in the database so that we query it. But on the user end, we are registering them. So scroll down to the block section on the left, and then select notifier. Click on notifier. It's at the bottom. Scroll down. Yes, click on notifier, and then click scroll down. You'll see call notifier dot show progress dialog. So scroll down slowly. You'll see call notifier one dot show progress dialog. It only has 2 inputs, or one, I think. Show progress. When I see it, I'll stop you. Almost there. Almost there. There. Umepita kidogo, so scroll up a little bit. Scroll up a little bit again, not that one. There, show progress dialog, yes. Call notify one dot show progress dialog, yes. Drag that and drop it and put it inside the else section, inside the else section. Now go and get some bubbles, text bubbles in the text section, yes. Put those 2 in the message and the title. Fantastic. Now the message is, please wait. I can say, please wait with 2 dots, because it will be loading, like you're preventing the user to do anything in the app until the data is saved. Please wait. Then the title should be registering, okay? Or registering. I don't know how to call it. Yeah, registering, please wait. Now, as the user is waiting, what we are going to do is we are going to save some data in the database, in the TinyDB. And how do we do that? Scroll down to the block section, you'll find TinyDB. Click on TinyDB and then choose call TinyDB1.store value, the last purple. I don't know, it's purple, I think. Yeah, the last purple, yes. Drag that and drop it under the call notify1.show progress dialog. Just fix it in that. You can see there is a way to join, yes, like that. So that should guide you. So for the tag, put an empty bubble for the tag only, in the text group, okay? In the text group, put an empty bubble in the tag section, and then the tag database is basically this, like a specific ID for you to store. So put this tag in capital, because that is, it's not that when you put it in small letters, it's going to have an error, but it is conventionally, it is recommended this way. So we are going to start with username, okay? So write username in caps at the tag section, username, and ensure there are no spaces in front or before. Yeah, so username. Then for value to store, click on username textbox.text there at the is empty section and duplicate it. There is that at the top. Click on the, yes, just duplicate that. Right click and then duplicate, and then fix it in the value to store. Instead of us going again and copying it and dragging it and dropping it there. So the first value we've stored is username text, username.text. So duplicate that call tinydb1.store value again, duplicate it, and then fix it below the entire thing, fix it below, yes, fantastic. And then instead of username, it is email. So change that to email, and then ensure that the value to store is email text box dot text, and then duplicate call tinydb. Do the same for password. Password, and then yeah, that should be password. Fantastic. I hope we are together. I hope we are together. Now, after you've put username, email, and password. The next thing is we are going to stop this progress dialog. So it will be calling TinyDB, storing username, calling TinyDB, storing email, and then password. And then that is when we are confident to stop the progress dialog. If you don't stop this progress dialog, it will be loading on forever. So towards your blocks on your left, scroll down and you click on notifier 1 at the bottom, yes. And then choose call notifier one dot dismiss progress dialog. It is, I think, always at the around the top. Just scroll down. You'll be able to see a purple one line thingy. I don't know how to call it. Not that one. That is dismiss custom dialog. We've not used a custom dialog, so you can just put that in the dustbin or right click and delete it. There is that dismiss custom, yes, dismiss progress dialog. Yeah, because you've shown progress dialog, you dismiss a progress dialog. Okay, fantastic. Now, after you've dismissed a progress dialog, notify the user again. Tell them registration successful, right? So click on notifier. You'll be able to see call notifier one dot show alert notice. It's just a one, scroll down, it's at the bottom. It's in purple in color, not there. So you'll be able to see call notifier one dot show alert. I wish there was a way to, there is a way to search anyway, but I'll confirm. Dot show alert notice, just an alert there. Fantastic. So call notifier one dot show alert notice, put there, put a text bubble and say registration successful, proceed to login. Yes, registration successful, proceed to login. Yeah, or I think it's the other way around. Login to proceed. Sorry. Sometimes tenses and grammar, very important. Fantastic. Then the final part in this on click section, click on control of the blocks section, and then scroll down. You'll be able to see open another screen, not there in the, on the, yeah, open another screen name. There, not that one, the other one without the start value, the first one. Open another screen name, like that. Yeah, drag it and drop it under call notifier show alert notice there, and then put a blank text bubble. Great. And then after you put a blank text bubble, what is the screen that you're going to log in? Ensure this thing is case sensitive. So if the way you've called your login screen is, it should be exactly, okay? So for you to confirm, are you seeing the drop down in the screen one section there? Just click and then confirm. Don't click on the screen, just confirm the spelling like that and then type in exactly what you see on that bubble. That is just to confirm. If you don't, you'll have an error. Or if you type login and type and press a space bar, you'll have an error. Yeah, so well done. Yours is correct. So you have to ensure that the way Rose is showing, you have to ensure that you have followed this thing is very case sensitive. You can type capital login and expect it to find it. So yeah, that's one thing. So for the last logic, after, let's say a user has registered once, they don't have to register again or to be taken to this page. So we have to check the moment this page comes up, we have to check whether we have some data or some data in the Tiny database. And if it is there, we navigate them to the login page right away for them to log in and confirm their credentials right away. So what we do is we are going to, are you seeing in the block section, you'll scroll down to see scroll up, I mean, scroll up for your case, it's up. Are you seeing the screen one, the screen as a component? So click on it. So screen is a component and there are some actions that you can perform with it. So select when screen one dot initialize, okay? When it is initialized, like that. So what happens when it is initialized? If so, that is just a standalone component on its own, so there is no need of fitting it anywhere. So that's just okay wherever it is. And then scroll down to the block section towards the top and get in the control section, click and get the if then block. Yes, the if then block, put it inside there. So what are we saying? If there's some data in the tiny database. So how do we do that? We get if is not empty, okay? If is not empty, if you have some data in the tiny database, just scroll towards the block section. You'll see in the logic section, you'll see a logic section. It's green in color at the top. At the top, logic, yes, and then drag a not. Not, yes. Fix it in the if there. If not, then click on text and then get an is empty. Fix it under after not, and then scroll down to tinydb1, and then click on it, and then call tinydb1.getValue. The second last purple one, yes, get value, tag value not there, that one, yes. Drag it and fix it after the is empty. So we can check in either of those values. We can check the tag email or the tag password or the tag username. So for accuracy purposes, just to duplicate any of those two. But for uniformity reasons, duplicate the email one. No, not the email, the username one, okay? So scroll up and then duplicate that tag and then fix it after. What is it? Yeah, scroll downwards, fix it in the tag section. Great. Yes. So we are saying if there is some data in the database or some login data in the database, then are you seeing call notifier or show alert notice that open another screen name login, I mean. That open another screen name login, duplicate that one, that block only, right click and duplicate, and then put it in the then section. And then we'll be done with this screen. So just to explain what is happening here, okay? Scroll upwards so that we can go, we can understand what is happening here. So we are saying when register button is clicked, we are checking whether we have username, whether we have some data in the username text box, email text box, and password text box. If they are empty, okay? If any of them, the moment you use a logical or, it means that if any of them is empty, okay? If any of them is empty, then we notify the user to fill in some fields. So the program will stop from there until the user fills in some field. When they click on the register button, and then any of the field is empty, the program or the app will not continue until they fill in the fields. So if they fill in the fields, that's when this program will skip this line and go to the else section, and then start registering the user by saving the data in the tiny database. So we'll have the tag username, tiny username, storing username text box data. We'll have the tag email, storing email text box, then the tag password, storing password text box. And then we close that progress dialog that we opened in the beginning, and then just notify a user by showing an alert. That alert is not necessary, but we just put in there so that we understand our code better. So I want to challenge you. I know towards the end of this session, you're going to discuss on how later you're going to install this app on your phone. Just when the app opens, just click on proceed or register without putting in anything in the fields and see what happens, okay? Yeah. So another thing is if let's say you're coming back to this app, it shouldn't be always taking you to the register page and you've already registered. So you check that and handle it. Okay. If it's not empty, if you have some username data, go directly to login so that the user can log in and proceed. I hope that is understood. So if you have questions, keep posting them to us. We'll reach them to you. And sometimes you might just be thinking or looking at this work or in a matatu, and then a question pops in. Text us, okay? Yeah. So we are done with this. So let's go to the login page. Let's go to the login page. So select the drop down of the screens. There at the top, we have screen 1. So select login, okay? Select login and then go to the designer section to ensure that we have all the non-visible component required. So we start with the I can see you have the storage still open there, so you can drag tinydb and drop it inside the screen. So you go to the storage section and drag tinydb and drop it inside the screen. It is in the storage section as she's showing. So drag a tinydb and drop it there, and then go to the user interface group at the top. Yes. And then drag a notifier and drop it inside the screen. Well done. Well done, Rose. We have an amazing tutor. Great. I hope we are together up to that point. I hope we are together up to that point. Now, let's go to the blocks section. Now that we have everything that is required, let's go to the blocks section. Fantastic. Now, the logic here is very simple. The logic here is very simple. The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to check whether some data, sorry, we are going to check whether the email and the password is filled in. Okay, we are going to check whether the email and the password is filled in, and then we are going to check whether the email that the user has typed in the email text box matches the one that is in the database. Okay. Yeah, those are the two things that you're going to check. Then if all those two conditions are correct, what happens is you move to the dashboard or the home page, okay? So the first thing that you're going to do is when that login button is clicked, when the login button is clicked. So towards the block section on your left, scroll down, and then I think you named your button login with capital L. Oh, it's login button, that one. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that one. So when login button dot click, so right, click that and put it in your screen. Fantastic. And then what happens when the login button is clicked? Scroll upwards and get an if statement in the control section. So drag an if then block. It's the first one. Yeah, the first one. Now, this time we are only checking 2 fields because you only have 2 fields in this section. So click on the logic block and then drag an or, yes, and fix it in the if section. Yes, fantastic. Now, scroll downwards towards the texts. I mean, where there is the email text boxes there inside the screen component. So scroll downward again. So we are going to check whether email text box is empty. So click on that one and then get email text box dot text. So you're not going to fix it because you've not taken an is empty first. So just drag email text box dot text. Scroll downwards. It is green in color. Email text box dot text. Yes, not that one, not the set one, not that one. That one is set email text box dot text too. So we are getting email text box dot text. Yeah. So click on the email text box again, and then choose the email. Yes, that one, email text box.text, and just put it on the side, not in the blocks, because you've not gotten the is empty. We forgot the is empty. So scroll upwards, and then in the text block, in the text built-in blocks, get an is empty. Scroll upwards and get an is empty. Fantastic. So not there. Yes. Fix it there. And then the email text box should be inside the is empty. Okay. I hope that makes sense. It's just what we did. Yes, there. Fantastic. Then duplicate the is empty and then select the password text box, duplicate, then select the password text box dot text, and then we are done with that. Then instead of us going again, there is one concept I know most of you are aware of, but it's worth mentioning. Maybe some of you aren't. We have the backpack towards your right. So yes, that is the backpack. So what you can do is, for now, you can right click and empty that backpack, empty the backpack so that we have a fresh new backpack. And then go to the, in the pages now, we are in the login page, right? So click on that drop down and select in the pages, yes, select screen one. So select screen one so that you can copy something. So scroll upwards. Are you seeing show message dialog, call not found or show message dialog? Just right click on that and then choose add to backpack so that you don't have to to type again. It's very similar. Fantastic. Now go back to login screen. So you just right click and choose add to backpack. For now, you'll click the backpack, and then you can drag and drop that call notifier one and put it in the then section so that we don't have to write this again. You don't have to put in again. We just drop in backpack and so on. In case you have some code, you can just add to backpack, or you want to copy from one project to another. Now, extend that if. I'm sure we are familiar with this logic now. So extend that if to have an else if. Some languages call it if else, but else if, okay? Else if. In the else if section, what we are going to check is we are going to compare username and the email text box, the email that the user has inputted in the email text box with the one that they registered with, okay? So go to the logic section and drag an or, okay? Drag an or, fix it in the else if section. Now, this is going to get a bit junkier, so I need you to, to watch closely what Rose is doing, okay? So scroll down, Rose, so that you have a breather room in the viewer section, yes. Now, click on text, okay? Click on text, then get compare text, okay? Compare text. Don't put it anywhere, just put it in that blank space. We want to ensure that we've worked on this before we put in the else if blocks. Now, in the compare text, you have a less than sign. Click on that drop down and ensure that you've selected not equal to, it's the second last one, not equal to, okay? So in the first block of the compare text, we are going to compare the email text box dot text. So you can duplicate the one that is at the top where there is the is empty section. You can right click that email text box and duplicate and put it in the first section. So ensure that your sign there is not equal to, okay? Then the not equals to sign, we are going to compare it with the tag, okay? The email tag. So scroll down towards in the block section on your left, scroll down to where tinydb is, and then click on tinydb, and then choose call tinydb1.getValue. that second last block, okay? Call tinydb1.getValue tag, value is not there, that one. So drag that and fix it inside that second block. Fantastic. Now, in the tag get you can duplicate that value is not there, or you can get a blank text bubble and put in the tag section, okay? So I think just go to the block section and then to the text, scroll upwards to the text built-in blocks, and then select a blank bubble and fix it in the tag section. What was the tag of the email? It was capital email. Ensure that is exactly the way we typed when we were registering, okay? Fantastic. So what we are going to do next is, what is happening here, we have compared the text that the user has input in the email text box with the one that they registered with and got stored in our tiny database. So click on compare texts and duplicate that one. Now, instead of email text box, it is now password text box, and then the tag is capital password. Ensure that it is exactly as we typed before. Now, I think you can start, this time you can start with the password section, the entire compare text, okay? Drag the entire compare text and put at the end of the or section. At that end, yes, fantastic. And then drag the compare text for the email and put it in the first or section so that you don't scroll horizontally so much. But yeah, that's how it is. That's how we have fixed that. So I hope you've been able to follow that. It's very simple. We are just comparing whether the email and the password is correct. Then you can duplicate that call notifier.show message dialog, and then we can change it to different messages. So duplicate that and put in the then section. And then the message should be, I mean, what is it called? How do we tell the user that the field? So you can say, please put in correct email and password. Correct email and password. Then the title, it can be incorrect credentials, okay? Incorrect credentials. Well done. Now, I want you to click now on the settings icon of the if so that we add an else section, okay? Yeah, click on the, not that one, the if one, okay? The if. Then scroll down, yes. Drag an else, yes, and put it after, and then scroll upwards and click it so that it disappears. Fantastic. And then now in the else section, we now are assuming that the username is correct. Okay, we are now assuming the first condition is false. What do I mean by the first condition is false? The user has inputted something in the email text box, okay? That is the first condition. Then the second condition is also false. That means that the email text box matches the one that is in the tinydb, and the password text box matches the one that is in the tinydb. Then what happens? You should navigate them to the home page. So click the control block, click the control section, and then scroll down and choose open another screen name. Open another screen name, and put in the else section, and then the screen, put a blank text bubble in that screen. Fantastic. And then confirm. I think you called it home, right? Just click on the screen drop downs. Home, yes. Ensure that you have written it correctly. Home. Well done, well done, well done. I hope we are together. I just want to give you a minute to absorb that. So one thing I'd like to mention is I know we have done coding is about practice. So if you get some time, even in the evening, it is those little things that you do from experience and from my mentors, it's those little things that you do, the unpaid in quotes, the unpaid little things that you do that will build you to greater stuff. So keep on practicing. I know we did web development, just worth mentioning. I know that we did web development during in December. So if I would highly encourage you to keep on practicing. Based on that knowledge, even during the week, you can say on Sundays for 1 hour, I'll be creating something in the web. Then on Saturday for 1 hour, I'll be creating something in the mobile so that you don't forget. It's like mathematics. If you don't practice for a while, you forget. It's just like right now, if you put you in high school and for you to do some mathematics in acceleration, it will be a bit hard if you because you've not been practicing. So keep on practicing. It's the only best way to learn. So great. Now, after that, let's go to the home page. We are not going to implement much in the home page, like, I don't know, forests and so on. So just go to the home page and go to the designer section. There is no component that you're going to drag here so far, but just to check, if later at your own time, if you wish, you can go ahead and implement a few things here. You can implement when someone clicks hiking, they can see hiking events, either even on Facebook. I think there are some events, hiking events in Mombasa. I don't know if they're there. I'm just guessing. Nairobi, you guys are from Nairobi. There must be a lot of events in Nairobi. That's the central place of where everything happens. There might be jogging events, something like that. So you can think about that and try and maybe implement that at your own time. And here, let's say the city, I know there are mountains in Nairobi. We don't have mountains in Mombasa, but there are mountains and forests. Karura, well, let me not mention. I don't know. Uh, Ocean, I think you'll have to come down, and city, so that you can showcase the user a few components here and there. Just saying, okay? But for now, we are only going to implement the chat section. If we were to implement this app, it would take us a lot of time, okay? We are going to implement that button of the home page. When you click on that chat button, it leads you to the chat screen as she's showing. So let's go to the blocks section. Let's go to the blocks section. Great. That's awesome. Now in the blocks section, I want you to click on the chat. Now it's not in the built-in blocks, it's in the, yeah, the chat button. Yes. When chat button dot click, when chat button dot click. So what happens when chat button dot click? You open another screen, screen name. So that open another screen, screen name is at the control section. Yes. Then open another screen, screen name, and then it should be chat, exactly as you called it. So get a blank text bubble and put in there, and then type in chat, exactly as you called your page. Yes. Well done. Fantastic. Now, I know we are together because this just small implementation. And then let's go ahead and open the chat page in the designer section. So select the chat page and then select the designer section. Great. Now, in this page, I can see you already have a notifier, a Firebase database, and TinyDB. So ensure that you have those three non-visible components. Ensure that you have a TinyDB one, you have a Firebase database, and you have a notifier. How do you get a Firebase database? It is in the Google group. Okay, it is in the Google group. When you click on Google group, you'll be able to see Firebase database. Yes, Firebase database. Later, we are going to show you documentations on how to at least try Firebase out. That is Firebase authentication, okay? Firebase authentication, so that the data that you populate to the user is in relation to whatever their data or their details is in the authentication, so that you don't have to change the Firebase rules, okay? But for now, due to time, if we had like a whole month or two to just learn about mobile development, we would do a lot. But that's not the recommended way to learn code. The recommended way to learn code is exactly what we are doing, thinking of a project and then implementing it. Okay, so yeah, that's one thing I really find works for me and for most people out there. So after you've dragged after you have the notifier, Firebase DB1 and TinyDB1, let's go to a URL to the open a new tab, or you can open a new tab that is away from Kodular. You can open a new tab and then search for Firebase. I can see you already have some Firebase somewhere. Yes, yes, great. Wow, I can see you are doing some reading here and there. That's great. Now, go to firebase.google.com. Let me just type that link in the chat. So, firebase.google.com. So firebase.google.com. Or you can just type Firebase, okay? You can just type Firebase on Google, and then it will lead you to Firebase. Yeah, it will lead you directly to Firebase. So at your own time, take time and read through. I see Rose was reading through a bit of Firebase documentation. That is really wonderful. So you can take some time and read through, but for now, we'll go to console, okay? There is go to console link at the top right. Yes, click on that link or that button, go to console. So of course, for this console, you have to have a Google account. If you have a Gmail account, you have a Google account. And if, for example, you are or the first time you're creating a project with Firebase, you will have a screen like this. So if you have ever created a project in Firebase, just skip this step because we'll just copy the same URL. There's no need of us creating multiple Firebase projects, okay? So click on create project, click on create project button, and then for the project name, you can give it travel, yeah, or travel app, whichever name, by the way, you feel, then accept the Firebase terms, and then click continue. Then these are Firebase analytics. You can enable or disable. It's not very important, but just enable them. There's no need. It's okay for you to leave it as enabled. So just leave it as enabled and then click on next or continue. And then analytics location is USA, of course. We don't have data centers in Kenya. But I think there are some in South Africa. I'm not very sure. Yeah.
We
Uh,
have some in South Africa.
yes.
We have some
Any
in South
question?
Africa. I'm saying we have some in South Africa.
Yes, yes, exactly. You're right. We do have some in South Africa, but in Kenya, no, we don't have any. So, God willing, maybe a member of Coders at American Spaces can be one of the leading persons to have some data analytics or some data banks here in Kenya for Firebase specifically. Okay, you never know. You really never know. As I told you, it's those things that you do, those unpaid things that you do that lead up to greater things. So yeah, fantastic. So I can see the travel app is ready. So click continue. And then, so for those who have already have a project, ensure that you select that project so that it opens this page. It opens this page. So ensure that you select that project so that it opens this page. And as you can see, just to mention, okay, just to mention, if you want to create a project and let's say you're creating it natively too, Android or iOS, for those who are using coding tools. Okay, for those who are using coding tools, and I know we are going to use some coding tools in the very near future. You click on add an app there. You select, you can see there is iOS there, the first section. Then we have Android, and then we have the web as the third section. Then that one is Unity 3D, right? Just hover on that, on the other one. Unity, yes. For those who are going to create strong animations and games, you can link it to Firebase DB. So for now, we are not going to do this because you're not going to natively code this, but for configuration purposes, if you are going to create, of which we are going to learn, let's say you're going to learn a bit of Flutter, we are going to learn a bit of React Native, and let's say basic native Android and native iOS using Swift or Objective-C. You will have to set them up using this. You have to set them up using that. It takes, I mean, a lot of time, but it's just a procedure. It takes a bit of some time. I think it's on a personal level, I find it so time consuming, but it's worth it anyway. You're setting up a database. Great. Now click on project overview at the left in the menu on the left. Yes. If no, I mean on build, sorry, on build. Click on build. Yes, yes. Click on build. So on build, we have authentication, Cloud Firestore. Of course, authentication is what we are going to use later if we are going to use Firebase out. Okay. Then there is Firebase storage in Kodular. We are going to use Firebase. If you're using Firebase storage, you'll be using Cloud Firestore. That is for Firebase storage. Cloud Firestore and the storage. So in those sections, you'll be able to upload files and data that is not real time, but a chat is real time. You want to, when someone sends a message, you're able to receive back immediately. So we are going to use real time database. So click on real time database. Fantastic. So on the real time database, click on create database. So if you already created a database before, if you already created a real-time database before, this step is unnecessary. We'll just use whatever you have, okay? So Margaret, you're asking a very important question. Yes, very important question. Any payment involved when working with Firebase? Yes, not now. What happens is when you launch an application, of course, when you create an app and use a Firebase database and put it on Play Store, your data will increase. Of course, depending on the number of users that are going to download and use your app and use your services in one way or the other. So uh, it will incur some payments, but it is pay as you go. I think it goes to about I think 25 USD per month on the minimum, on the maximum, I think sometimes. But some apps even go up to 100 or 1,000. But that means that app is very bulky. It uses a lot of requests. The only disadvantage, one thing that I'll mention is for you, if you're using Firebase database, it is not very recommended by most developers on the developer's point of view, because for you to migrate data is a bit hard. It's a bit hard for you to migrate data. And the number two is you want to be owning your data. So that's one thing. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of an issue. But if your app is not targeting a lot of people, it's targeting just a special group of people, you can use Firebase database and it will just work well. So there are alternatives out there, just worth mentioning. Just worth mentioning. The alternatives out there like Pass DB, you can have a look at it. With Pass, you can even migrate and store it in any cloud storage. You can even create a PHP. So you're learning the web. You'll be learning Python, you'll be learning PHP, you'll be learning some data science and so on. So you can create some code using PHP framework or JavaScript and store that data in a database and create a link. That is what we call API development. So that whatever happens in the web happens also in the mobile, and you don't have to set a database on the side. So there are multiple options depending on what you want to achieve. Yeah, there are many ways of killing a rat. But for now, I highly recommend Firebase. If you're creating an app that has a chat, use Firebase. If you have creating an app that um, requires real-time data, use Firebase. You can even use Pass, but Pass is not incorporated in Kodular, unfortunately. So right now we have Firebase. Okay, worth mentioning. Thank you for asking, Margaret. That was very eye-opening. So click on next after you click on set up your database. Click on next, then click on start in test mode. Start in test mode. Yes. And then click on enable. Just ignore the red things. Nothing terrifies a developer. I mean, a warning does not terrify a developer because there are worse things out there like crashes and so on. Okay? So, yeah. So click on the rules tab. Click on the rules tab. We have data tab there, and then we have rules tab. And then we are going to edit these rules. Are you seeing from the quotation? Okay, there is rules full colon, then opening question or opening braces, then there is read full colon. Now, after that full colon of read, delete the the quotation marks and now and the date, and only the leave let me close this so that I can. Yes, you leave the comma, so and the comma should be there, the comma towards the end. So just delete yeah, that one is a comment, so whether you delete it or not, it does no harm. So delete the quotation mark, the data in the quotation marks as well. So I hope you understand. I don't know if I'm making sense. Yes, from there, from where your cursor is, delete, and then delete also. Just delete again and until there. Delete that quotation mark. There, fantastic. So read, type true, True. Ooh, R is a very difficult word in my tongue. No, no, small letters, small letters. True. Yes. True. Fantastic. And then do the same for right. Do the same for right. You don't have to delete the comment. It's okay. You can just delete, but leave the comma. Yes, like that. Then right is true. True is a Boolean variable. Just worth mentioning again, in programming, the basics of programming, okay? In the basics of programming, we have what we call variables and data types, okay? I hope you will take time because these things are really important. They're really important for you to grow as a developer, okay? So we have variables and data types. So true and false is a Boolean data type. So I know in probability there are some conditions that are one condition when one condition is true, the other one is false. So this one is just one of those data types. And then there are what we call string data type that contains characters and texts. And then we have what we call decimals and so on, depending on the language that you are using. So click on publish so that the data is published. So we have made our database sort of insecure. Let me not mention that so that you get scared, but it will be insecure if you share this URL with people out there. Okay, but either way, it's not. Don't be worried. What we are saying is we have made this database accessible in a way that the app can read and write without having the authentication restriction. Okay, so click on the data tab, and then click on that URL. Just click on that URL at the top once, and then ensure that you select it and right click and copy. The HTTPS, travel up, blah, blah, blah. Copy the entire URL. I hope we are together. Then after you've copied the entire URL, let's go back to Kodular. Let's go back to Kodular. Fantastic. So select the Firebase database one at the components section, okay? the Firebase database one at the component section. And then we have Firebase URL. Yes, paste there. Delete the default text and then paste there. For Firebase token, don't ever touch it. Don't ever touch that. So for project bucket, we are going to leave it as it is. So a project bucket depends on the app. So that's why I was saying, for those who've ever created with Firebase before, you don't need to. As long as you've pasted the Firebase URL, the project bucket is going to be different. It will be the same project in the Firebase, written in whichever name, but it will store data separately and fetch data separately. I hope we are together. Now, for the final implementation, we won't finish this because I would want us, when we start fetching data from Firebase and so on, we are on fresh minds, okay? We'll finish some coding in the second session. But for now, I just want us to finish one simple logic, okay? I just want us to finish one simple logic before we go through on how best you are going to install this application and test it. Because so far with this application, you can test it. You can log in, you can sign up, you can register, you can log in, then you can go straight to the homepage and then at least view some functionalities that you have implemented, okay? So click on the blocks section and then let's do it. Click on the block section and then do that simple thing before we do we try and do the installation. So in this section, what we are going to do is we are going to change that title of the chat, or the title, so that you know that it's your chat. Like, I don't know how to put it. The title of the page, based on your username, you know that that is your chat, because a lot of conversation will be going on. You'll be able to just see that at the title bar of the page, it is your chat. So you customize it and give it based on the username that you have inputted there. And that will be the username that will be displayed the moment you type in a comment to send it in the chat. So very simple. Scroll down to the in the block section, and that page is called chat, right? So click on chat as a page component or as a screen component, and then select when chat.initialize. When chat.initialize, the fourth one, drag it and drop it in your screen. When chat.initialize. Fantastic. So just a minute. Yes. So when chat.initialize, we are going to set the label of, or the title of that chat, or the title of that screen. So click on chat again. Click on chat again. Yes. Then scroll down. You'll see some green functionalities now. Set chat.title should be somewhere too. Now it is set chat.title too. Okay. Scroll down again. I think it's somewhere. I don't know why they put it towards the end. Yes. Set chat.title to. Yes. Drag that and fix it inside the do section. Yes, it will enter just yeah, fantastic. So set chat.title to. So we are going to set it. That's just an error. Don't mind it, because we've not fixed something towards the end. So go to the, we are going to set it based on the username that someone has placed in their TinyDB. Cindy. So click on text section in the built-in blocks and then take a join. So in case you have the join one, yeah. So in case you have multiple texts that you want to showcase and customize, you can use join. And you're going to use join a lot, especially in our second session. So set chat.title to join in the first join. So go back to the block section and scroll downwards and select, what is its name? Select TinyDB, TinyDB1. So click on TinyDB1 and then choose call TinyDB1.getValue. Get value. Yes, get value tag value if not there. That one. Fantastic. Drag it and drop it in the first join. Yes. and then for the tag, put a blank bubble, and then, or you can duplicate that value is not there bubble. That value is not there bubble should always be blank. But yeah, in the tag section, no, oh, it's okay, it's okay. Just put there. We'll need, yeah, it's okay. Put there, and we'll also need some one extra there at below there. Yes. So the tag is username, right? So ensure that you've typed username exactly the way as you typed when you're registering the user. So then here in the second bubble of join, not there in the yeah, I don't know how to call it, not that one, the one that is at the last section of join. Yes. So put an apostrophe. Is it an apostrophe? That's yes, that's single. Yes, only one, not double. Sorry, single. Yes, and then put S, small s, and then space, then forum, FOURM, RUM. Sorry about that. So some usernames forum. So in case you've registered as Rose Rose Okech as your username, it will be Rose Okech's forum. If you've registered, let's say you have registered as Agnes as your username, it will be Agnes forum. Yes, something like that. Have that in mind. For example, it is Tarus as your username when you are registering your page, or when you're registering the registration page. It will be Tarus forum. Okay, that's one thing I'll highly mention. So we won't continue with Firebase backend here because I want us to have a fresh mind when we are doing that. But I want you to go and try install this application in your phone. Okay, so there are multiple ways of doing it. There are multiple ways of doing it. So the first way is there is an app called Kodular Companion. Okay, Kodular Companion. I'll just share that in the chat. It is a mobile app for you to be able to share, to test your apps. So you scan your app with a QR code, and then you install it in your machine. Okay, you install it in your machine. Let me just ensure that you have that in the chat. Yes, great. Kodular Companion. That's it. So you can even just go to your phone and use, I mean, and on Google Play, Google Play, and type in Kodular Companion. Yes. Now, after you've done that, you just go ahead and install it and give it permissions to access your phone, details to access your phone, images, and so on. And then you can be able to scan a QR code. So how do you go about this? After you install this app, you go to Kodular, okay? So you go to Kodular, where you've written your source code, and then there is test button. Okay, there is the test button at the top. When you click on test, there is connect to companion. Yes, click on that. Now when you click connect to companion, you will be given this to scan, or you can just type in that code. So that will enable you to be able to be able to test your app. You'll be able to load a particular screen that you are working on and test it. And if there are errors, it will show you and you'll be able to debug. Now, another way is if you want to see this application, just click on export. And then, okay, there are two options, just worth mentioning again, so that you don't go question yourself so much. We have the Android app bundle and we have the Android app APK. So the app bundle, it will be when you want to deploy your applications on Play Store. Play Store or Google recommends that you upload the app bundle because uh, app bundles are they're the ones that can be signed by Google itself, and convert it to an APK so that it can manage it well in Play Store. There are some issues that, I mean, you can't install an app bundle in your phone, but when you are deploying an app to Play Store so that it can be accessible by users, you download an app bundle, and that's the one that you'll be uploading on Play Store, not the APK. But for now, okay, the APK is also acceptable, but app bundle is the one that is recommended. But for now, since if you're going to test your application, you don't use an app bundle, you use an APK. So you click on Android app APK. So you can click on that, and then it will build your project. It often takes a few minutes, I think 1 or 2 minutes. And then you will be able to see a link to download the APK, or you can scan that QR code using a QR scanner, and it will provide for you a link. So sometimes it happens. You can just refresh the page and try building it again. Sometimes it happens. We still have like 5 minutes, so you can just refresh the page, and you can try again. Fantastic. Okay, so sometimes what often happens is the type of assets that you have used. Okay, so let us just confirm. I'm glad that it has happened, so that maybe would have said you go build and you don't know what happened. So click on assets. You see what kind of assets that you've used. In case there is that city.webp, I don't think that is recognized very well by. It will show, of course, but it won't be well recognized. So you can just remove it. So scroll down and check again. That is often one of the reasons. I can see. So it accepts JPG, PNG. We also have some JSON. JSON, it's some type of file. It accepts that, or URLs in case you're using what I don't know. Loti, yes. So Loti sounds funny to me, but Loti accepts that. So you can try again. We see what happens if it will work. So majorly that's often the main problem, but if it doesn't, it just means that the server might be busy and you might need to give it some time. Click on view log, we see what happens. Don't close. Uh-huh. Okay, checking for Firebase, Firebase components not found, Firebase config error. Okay, let's go and check what the issue is with our Firebase. Okay, so click on not there on just in Kodular, because here we ensure that we've set up everything, and we've not used Firebase yet. Yeah, we've not used Firebase yet. So where else have you used the Firebase DB? I think it's only on the chat page. Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, on the chat
Yeah.
page. Oh, great. So let's go to the chat page. We see what happens. So click on Firebase database as a component. Yeah, we've not used Firebase, so it shouldn't have a problem. Hmm. So what you can do with that URL, you can double click on it and copy. All right, and then you can delete that Firebase DB. And then you can drag a fresh new Firebase DB somewhere. Yeah, just delete it. But if it continue happening again, we can just find a way of, you can remove it for now because we've not implemented it. So click on Google, then Firebase database. Then for the default area, just try again, paste there. Fantastic. Then try. If it doesn't work, we'll remove the Firebase database temporarily until our next session because it doesn't take much to install it either way. We've just placed in there and we've not implemented it. I think that's what is haunting us. Yeah, it's okay. Just close and remove that Firebase database and try, unless maybe you've used it somewhere else. But I don't know.
I've not
In
used any
Yes,
of my projects. I
yes.
haven't used it in any of
Oh, you haven't used it. It's okay. It's okay. Then you can just delete it and try build it. But don't forget next time, don't forget to paste that Firebase database again. So that's just one way of us testing. I hope have you guys succeeded? In the first session in the morning for the Mombasa group, they were able to download. Some were able to download, but sometimes it happens. So you can just delete that Firebase database for now because you've not implemented the backend yet. The only thing we did is adding a Firebase URL in preparation for the next session. So yeah, you can try again. But if it doesn't work, you just try again at some other time. The server might just be busy because this code is written somewhere and compiled in a specific server somewhere. So it happens. It happens. So you can click on export again. If it doesn't work, fantastic. You'll just try later. Hmm. Okay, then I think you'll just try later. I can see checking for Firebase. Yeah, it is confused. You've removed the Firebase database, but it's still asking for that. But just give it some time. Ensure that I think your project is saved. Later, you'll just come to this project and then try and build it. If it doesn't, don't forget to contact me. I'll make sure that we work it out. Okay? Anyone who has succeeded, don't
I just have a
stop
question.
sharing your screen. Yes? Sorry?
Can I try the test? Because I've downloaded the Kodular
Oh,
API.
yes. Yes, please. Go ahead. Go ahead and try. Then you let us know what happens. You can even take a screenshot and share in the group. Anyone else who has managed? Has anyone managed to download something or to test? It's often at the 45th percent that, yeah. Has it loaded something?
Yes.
Yes, I knew it would. That is fantastic. If you can send us a screenshot so that we can admire your work. The moment you change screen, it will change as well. If you go to home page, it will change. Yeah, something like that. Has it worked? That is really awesome. That is so cool. So, Rose, you have really been a great facilitator today. Thank you so much. And I am sure most of you have been able to follow. So, we are past time by 4 minutes. Do you have any questions? Oh, thank you, Margaret, for joining us. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys, for joining us. So thank you so much, Rose. You can now stop sharing. I want to welcome our amazing co-facilitator, Madam Zalia. It might be your first time. Some of you might have interacted with her because she has always been an amazing mentor at Polytechno Girls. But if it is your first time, you'll have an honor to hear from her. So, Madam Zalia, most welcome.
Thank you, madam. So, good afternoon. What I'd like to say is basically all this coding and all this doesn't come on a silver platter. So, what you guys have to do is just basically practice. If you get stuck, feel free to reach out. If you feel free to try new things, feel very comfortable getting errors, because once you're comfortable getting errors, you'll be comfortable solving them. And that's all. Have a great time.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Zalia. And Lillian, you're saying you will have to practice this later. That's awesome. That's awesome. So thank you so much. I don't have much on my end. I will now end the session. Have an awesome evening. Bye, everyone.